It's wonderful, isn't it, that in Australia, from the settlement itself, within a very short period of the settlement in New South Wales by Governor Phillip, we had a case, a civil law case, Cable and Sinclair, where two convicts brought an action for the theft of their properties against one of the captains of one of the ships. And it was heard in New South Wales, I suppose in a tent, by Collins, David Collins, and damages were awarded, were they not, for the loss of that? He found that obviously the captain had stolen it and misappropriated it, and they got damages.
Yes, exactly. Look, it's a wonderful case. The principle that jumps out at you from that is the fact that when people waded ashore at Sydney Cove in 1788, they had this invisible cargo of principles, not just the rule of law, but all the constitutional development that had taken place in England since 1215. That all came ashore. That was all part of the package, and it's all part of the inheritance, the legal inheritance, constitutional inheritance, actually, that provides the foundation for this country. It's frequently forgotten, but the High Court has recognised that the Constitution is based on an assumption that the rule of law pervades in this country, and it's not just the principles of 1215. There are significant constitutional developments in Britain: the Act of Settlement, the British Bill of Rights, the Glorious Revolution, really. All that is part of our inheritance. And even though this country is entirely independent of Britain and has been for some time, it would be a terrible mistake to ignore that inheritance. The Americans don't ignore it. The Americans celebrate the fact that they are the beneficiaries of Magna Carta. The American Bar Association actually is responsible for erecting a monument at Runnymede, the field at Runnymede, where the charter was sealed by King John and his rebellious nobles. The Americans did that. Completely independent republic.
And isn't it extraordinary that although New South Wales was to be a penal colony, just within a very short period of the settlers arriving, here you have two convicts being allowed to sue. It was interesting that Collins ignored the rule that convicts couldn't sue.
Yes, it is remarkable.
He must have known the rule.
Look, there's been books written about how the freedom in this country, democracy in this country, grew out of the rule of law. It was not the other way around. It wasn't democracy first and then the rule of law. It was first the principles of the rule of law. And the democracy could not be denied by a population that insisted on their rights, and their rights at the time as Englishmen. It's completely different now, of course, but those rights are still present and still part of our inheritance. And more people need to take account of them and stand up for them rather than simply accept passively the erosion of principles that have been 800 years in the making.
And that's why the institute of which you're vice president is so important, because it celebrates the rule of law, but it also has a major educational role, does it not, in the schools and universities?
Yes, look, my task of making trouble for people who infringe the rule of law, that's only one part of what we do. We employ teachers, we provide educational materials for schools, we take guided tours through some of the courts of New South Wales, and some of the judges, particularly the district court judges, are enthusiastic about this, because the more young people learn about the civic education, and they need this desperately in a time when rights and liberties are under attack like never before, in my view, anyway.